Next at 5, a murderer is still walking the streets 8 years after killing a Fuquay-Varina woman. Tonight, we hear from the woman's son and have new information about paint chips that could help solve the case. Plus,
6 months after Hurricane Florence, and folks who live on Bombay Drive in Fayetteville are in a pickle. Some are moving out, others can't move back in.
Nobody lives there, you know, and pretty much all the people out here, they stuck.
How this storm has changed lives forever.
Plus, NC State rallies back in the first round of the ACC tournament to defeat Clemson. WRAL is live in Charlotte with how the fans are celebrating.
This is WRAL News, your #1 source for local news.
nearly a decade ago, a chilling discovery.
I got a dead body out. We found in the ditch here.
A 41-year-old woman found dead on the side of the road. 8 years later, the case is still cold.
We're still waiting. We're still waiting. It's hard. Not knowing is the hard part.
Now her son is speaking exclusively with WRAL for the first time since his mother was killed.
It really lets me know that people still care. People still out here looking. People still out here searching.
New evidence tonight in the murder of Sandra Thomas of Fuquay-Varina 8 years after the crime. Hello and thanks for joining us. I'm Gerald Owens.
And I'm Catherine Brown. David and Deborah are on assignment. Well, today her son speaks for the first time about his mother's death since it happened when he was 11 years old. WRAL's Amanda Lamb spoke with him about new evidence that he hopes will solve the crime.
Sandra Thomas's body was found here on Lawrence Street in Fuquay-Varina almost 8 years ago. And while many cold cases never get another look, it's clear from the court documents that Fuquay-Varina police believe they have new leads.
Everybody loved her. Everywhere I go is, oh, your mother gonna smile everywhere.
Jarquez Thomas was only 11 years old when his mother, 41-year-old Sandra Thomas, was murdered.
When I got home, the whole street, everybody was at my house. And I didn't know what was going on, so I got in the scene and everybody crying, but I didn't see my mother.
He often walks on Lawrence Street where her body was found. She's not forgotten.
No, never, never.
New court documents reveal that investigators have seized a truck from an Apex man they believe might yield clues. A man they say she called shortly before she was found dead. They are checking to see if paint chips found on Thomas's clothing match the paint from the vehicle.
People know stuff. People know what's going on, but don't nobody say nothing.
The community stood in the rain to mourn Thomas's death in 2011. Now they are hoping for justice.
I think that's wonderful news for the community because, you know, everybody's life matters. You know what I'm saying? So for that to have happened and 8 years later they finally have a suspect or somebody, you know, of interest, I think that's wonderful.
It really lets me know that people still care. People still out here looking. People still out here searching. And even though it's 8 years, it could be another year until they find out. It don't matter as long as somebody let us know something.
We asked police where the investigation stands now. They say they have no comment on the details. They would only say it is still open and active. Amanda Lamb, WRAL News, Fuquay-Varina.
Well, police have spoken with a man who owns the truck, Andrew Woodard. According to the search warrant, he said he spoke with Thomas that night by phone and she was supposed to come to his home, but he told investigators she never showed up and he fell asleep.
New information today in the ballot and fraud investigation in the 9th Congressional District. Search warrants in the case were unsealed today. Meanwhile, state leaders are recommending changes to absentee voting laws. WRL's Capitol Bureau Chief Laura Leslie live on Jones Street with the latest developments for us. Laura?
Gerald, those warrants were unsealed today by a Wake County judge after a coalition of newsrooms, including WRAL, challenged the seal in court. They give us a clearer picture of what investigators in this case are looking for. The warrants reveal federal investigators as well as state agents were in Bladen County last year watching McCrae Dowless and what prosecutors say was an absentee ballot harvesting operation. The warrants ask for cell phone records, text and voicemail messages, all the the way back through 2016, and GPS location data as far back as the phone company can go. They also had a look at Dowless's bank accounts and ATM transactions that he made in Bladen County at specific times and places just before the 2018 primary. State Elections Director Kim Strack told House lawmakers today that election crimes should have stiffer penalties. Most crimes are only misdemeanors that carry no jail time. Strack also asked lawmakers to outlaw the practice of paying workers for absentee ballot request forms, something Dowless did in Bladen County.
The workers were not paid by the hour. They were paid by the number of forms that they turned in. And sometimes, based on our investigation, we had voters that said they didn't request an absentee ballot.
Dowless and 4 people who worked for him were indicted by a grand jury in February. They've been arrested and charged. Dowless himself is facing several felony charges. Now, earlier this month, federal officials also issued subpoenas for Dowless, for the Harris campaign, and the State Board of Elections, looking for information that in some cases goes back years. Back to you, Gerald.
Laura Leslie, live on Jones Street. Thank you.
Raleigh Mayor Nancy McFarland will not run for office again. She released a video today to talk about her accomplishments in office.
Thank you all so much for your years of support. It's meant so much to me. I have loved being your mayor, and now I look forward to being your neighbor.
McFarland mentioned achievements including the acquisition of state property for Dix Park and investments in affordable housing and the arts. She also lamented growing political division online specifically. McFarland was elected to city council in 2007 and won her first of 4 terms as mayor in 2011. The man McFarland beat back in 2017, attorney Charles Francis says he will make another run for mayor.
The FAA has ordered the temporary grounding of all Boeing 737 MAX 8 and MAX 9 aircraft and related aircraft after the president made an emergency announcement. The United States joins most other nations now in grounding these jets after a deadly crash in Ethiopia. Canada also made the same decision today, shortly before President Trump's announcement. Southwest is complying with the new requirement. It has 34 MAX 8 jets, and 8 of them fly in and out of RDU. American Airlines has 24 of the aircraft. None of them serve RDU. Poor weather conditions may have contributed to a deadly crash in Franklin County earlier this month. A newly released report from the NTSB reveals the pilot filed the appropriate flight plan and received clearance prior to taking off. However, witnesses told investigators it was foggy and rainy at the time of the crash. The plane went down seconds after taking off, killing all 3 people on board.
Well, former Trump campaign chairman Paul Manafort now faces a total of 7.5 years in prison. Today, a federal judge rejected his appeal for no additional time. Within minutes of the sentencing, prosecutors in New York brought state charges against Manafort. The move looks at least partly designed to guard against the possibility that President Trump could pardon him. The president can pardon federal crimes, but not state offenses.
The FBI says actress Lori Loughlin was taken into custody in connection with a college cheating scandal. Loughlin has a court appearance this afternoon. Yesterday, 50 people were linked to the scheme in which wealthy families allegedly funneled money to bribe test administrators, college coaches, and other insiders to get their children into some of the nation's most selective universities, including Wake Forest University. Federal lawmakers are talking about making higher education more affordable. College campuses across the nation are more diverse than ever before, and the cost of higher education is rising. Today, the House Education and Labor Committee held a hearing on the cost of college and discussed affordability from tuition to books and federal student loan programs. Access to post-secondary education continues to be difficult for many low-income students and students of color.
6 months after Hurricane Florence, communities are still recovering. And one area that was hit particularly hard is on Bombay Drive in Fayetteville. The storm flooded homes and businesses and washed away the dreams of many families there. WRAL's Gilbert Bays is live after talking with residents who weathered the storm. And Gilbert, for many, they are still weathering it.
That's exactly right, Kathy. You know, photojournalist Michael Jordan and I came out here right after the storm here on Bombay Drive. See, it's a beautiful neighborhood. The only problem is there's only one way in and one way out. So when the flooding came, the folks who were here were trapped. And the folks I talked with today about this storm say, hey, they talked about it just like it happened yesterday. Hurricane Florence devastated many of the homes in the Cedar Falls community in Fayetteville. Water from Locks Creek turned Bombay Drive into a river, flooding cars and homes. Weeks after the storm, debris lined the streets, and residents say help was slow to come.
Pretty much all the people out here, they stuck because they can't get out. And they can't get no help. To me, the city has failed this neighborhood.
Ashley Ninesunger says her family is moving out because they want a home outside of the city. But in the back of her mind, the hurricanes are part of the reason for the move. She and her family were here for Hurricane Matthew, so she knew what to expect when Florence started approaching.
So we knew to watch the creek because the creek will flood and you will get blocked in here and you're not going to have power for a week or so. And so it was hot. Like our house was 90 degrees. I didn't want to stay here with it being 90 degrees and no AC.
For sale signs are up and many people have moved out. This brand new apartment complex remains vacant.
They came through after the first storm, rebuilt them. No sooner they got back up to par, they flooded again. The man said, you know what, I give up.
So
nobody lives there.
Harrison says to add insult to injury, one contractor is building a new home with old supplies. You can see the number on this pile of wood that we took pictures of 6 months ago. It's the same wood, and it's been out here in the weather ever since the storm.
The city inspector came over here the day before yesterday and approved to let them do it.
What's going to happen when the next storm comes in here?
We're going to be stuck again, washed out.
Now, I don't know about you, but I would not want a house built with this wood right here. You can see that the house is being built with wood that looks like it's already kind of decayed. Again, this used to be a retaining pond here. Ever since they filled this in, residents say this area floods. And Catherine, they just wish that the city would do something to give them some help.
Oh boy, I bet they do. Gilbert Bay is live in Fayetteville. Gilbert, thank you. Tonight, join us for a special 5:30 newscast here on WRAL. We'll take a close look at the progress made since Florence and the resilience of those who lived through it, plus how businesses are preparing for what they hope will be a busy tourist season.
Brad Johansson in the Live Center. This is the map of the Facebook outage. Good news, Facebook is back up along with Instagram and WhatsApp. It's been out for about 3.5 hours. No word on what that outage was due to. We'll have more details as it becomes available, but it's back up. Guys, back to you.
All right, Brad, thank you. A body found during the search for a missing Nash County woman. Tonight, we'll sit down with her friend who says she cut off contact years ago and they feared they would never see her again. That's tonight at 6. Plus,
NC State fans are still smiling after this big win today. I'm Deborah Morgan, live in Charlotte at the ACC tournament. Coming up, what NC State great David Thompson thought of today's big win.
You're watching coverage you can count on with WRAL News.
NC State took on Clemson today in the second round of the ACC tournament, and their chances looked bleak, falling behind by 18 points early in the game. But they clawed their way back in the second half, leading the Wolfpack to victory. WRAL's Deborah Morgan is live in Charlotte. With that, Deb, the fans I know are going crazy about this one. The excitement starts early in this tournament.
Oh, yeah. Oh, no doubt about it. Because, you know, Gerald, when I first walked in here at the beginning of the game, I didn't hear anybody. It's like nobody was cheering. Nothing was going on. All the NC State fans were just sitting on their hands. Nothing to cheer about early. But what a way to start ACC tournament play for a Triangle team. NC State with a huge comeback win to survive and advance.
Good basket, let's go.
On a Wednesday afternoon, what better place to be for a basketball fan than right here at the ACC tournament?
All right, let's go, come on.
Especially when your team wins. NC State beat Clemson 59-58. A nail-biter down the end, even for someone like NC State great David Thompson.
What a comeback, huh?
Oh, great, unbelievable. I can't believe they came back from that far, but they've done it a lot of times this year, so I never gave up on it.
It's a time to skip work or school and put all your energy into cheering for your team.
At the beginning, we were just dragging and fumbling the ball around, and our fans weren't cheering, but me, I was the only one cheering, which is why I'm hoarse.
It's a lot of fun. We're pulling hard for state. It's my first year, but my uncle's come several years, and so we're making it a family affair this year.
Say go, Pat! It's a first for little 6-month-old Violet.
Is she having fun?
Yeah, she's doing surprisingly well. She's doing surprisingly well. I think her older brother, he's in his 3, he's got his fingers in his mouth. What's happening here? But she's taking it all in.
NC State fans are definitely taking it all in. They are so excited tonight. They're going to be back here. They're going to be hoarse. They're going to be cheering for their team again at 12:30 against Virginia, the #1 seed. So it could be another tough game, but we're going to be pulling for the Wolfpack for sure. Certainly the fans will be here doing just that. Coming up tonight at 6, a look at how fans are so excited about the tournament being back in Charlotte. Gerald?
All right, Deborah, I wonder if little Violet realizes how lucky she is to be going to the ACC tournament. That is a tough ticket to get, even if you're a baby.
It is, but she definitely took it all in, and she's going to be back here, I bet, next year, too. It was a good family to meet. They were really into it.
All right, thanks. Deborah Morgan live in Charlotte. Thanks, Deb. Now, remember, WRAL is your hoops headquarters. Here was a look at tonight's ACC matchups. At 7 p.m., Louisville takes on Notre Dame here on WRAL. And the final game of the evening will be Syracuse taking on Pittsburgh. To see where your favorite NBC programs have shifted on WRAL.com, just search Hoops. And because of our ACC tournament coverage, tomorrow our noon news will be on WRAL. Will be just 30 minutes. It's usually an hour. It'll be 30 minutes tomorrow. Our 4 o'clock newscast will shift over to Fox 50. Catherine.
All right, Gerald, thank you. The Durham Rescue Mission needs more than 1,500 Easter baskets for its April giveaway. The organization only has about 250 right now. They're expecting hundreds of the Triangle's at-risk children to attend the mission's annual Easter community dinner. Some families come as early as 6 a.m. to stand in line for a basket. You can donate to the Durham Rescue Mission at the Mission Center on East Main Street. Well, fires, floods, and other natural disasters could strike this coming spring, and you need to be prepared. Fayetteville residents have a chance to pick up free disaster preparedness kits this week. All state agencies is handing out the kits through Friday. There are 225 of them left, and they include first aid items, an emergency blanket, flashlight, and other supplies. Just visit a participating all-state agency location. And much help is needed for those impacted by the deadly tornadoes in Alabama earlier this month. Errol Reese, you may recall, lost 7 members of his family. He's a host of Sports Chop on the Buzz radio station and a part of the CBC family. Reese is planning to head down to Alabama to see the devastation firsthand next week and lend a hand. He plans to take donations down to help the victims of this tragedy. You can help by donating items like water, first aid kits, toiletries, etc. We'll have a complete list of items on our website, WRAL.com. Just search Alabama tornado, and you can drop off donations at Virgin Cigars on Glenwood Avenue in Raleigh until next week. But you continue to see those pictures, and it is just stunning. I mean, it's just jaw-dropping every time.
And we're in the midst of severe weather season now. Our peak comes next month. So, you know, we're not out of it yet, and then into May as well.
Yeah,
but all is quiet out there right now. Yeah, we're doing pretty good right now. And temperatures heading in a warmer direction. Let's start off with our weather billboard and see what's happening temperature-wise. And we've gotten up into the 60s today with a strong warm air transport tomorrow. We do have the potential, and it's potential with a capital P. I'm telling you, 73 tomorrow, 74 on Friday. So we'll say spring has sprung, but it doesn't officially on the calendar get here till next Wednesday. And late day showers are possible Friday, maybe even a thunderstorm. In fact, let's talk about that rain timeline for the day on Friday. We have no rain in our forecast tomorrow. Tomorrow night, there's no rain. 10% chance for Friday morning when you head out for the morning commute. You'll be okay. 20% by noon, and then it starts to jump up Friday afternoon. We're talking about a 30% chance of rain, and that will continue into the evening hours. And then once the front passes Friday night, it'll be drying out, but we'll still have lingering cloud cover. So the chance of getting wet at late afternoon Friday into Friday evening is very slim. And there's also the possibility of an isolated thunderstorm. So the daffodils at Dix Park have become a popular destination for folks to come out and visit. They look very nice against the backdrop of downtown Raleigh. There have been a lot of kids out there taking pictures, dogs and such. A nice afternoon to do it. Right now at RDU at 62 after a high of 63. Instead of having a northerly wind transporting cool air into the region, we have had a southerly wind today, and that only increases for the day tomorrow and especially on Friday. Numbers from north to south, everybody's in the 60s up north except 59 at Roxborough, 64 at Rocky Mount and Wilson, 61 at Roanoke Rapids, and we head farther south, we're in the 60s. Nobody had 70s today. 66 was the warmest you've had in Fayetteville. Now, we've had some upper level cloud stream on into the area, and they will tend to be with us this evening. So we'll go partly to mostly cloudy, but I think through the day tomorrow, we'll end up with partly cloudy skies. The radar shows what could be sprinkles. The air is so dry near the ground that may have a hard time reaching the ground, but we don't really expect any precipitation tonight. On the backside of the high, we have a warmer flow of air in the south. There's the line of thunderstorms that produced severe weather across West Texas last night. Nothing severe right now. We'll watch to see if anything grows out of that. And there's the big storm, the big story, the bomb cyclone. This has developed rather rapidly with 24-hour period barometric drop about 24 millibars, and we're seeing blizzard conditions, heavy snow. It's just a real mess out there, and this low will continue to track to the northeast, and there are some locations that could see up to 20 inches of snow. Around here, we'll call it comfortably cool this evening, partly to mostly cloudy by 7 o'clock, about 60, 9 o'clock, 56, by 11 o'clock, 53. Temperatures slowly fall, but it's really not all that cold. And we had 32 for a low out at RDU this morning. We expect about 46 tonight with partly to mostly cloudy skies, mainly upper level clouds, mid-40s to the north, mid-40s to the south, so an even temperature spread. Your morning commute will have partly cloudy skies, temperatures running in the 40s. It won't be nearly as cold as this morning, 47 at 8, 10 a.m. about 55, and then tomorrow at lunchtime, we're going to be breezy, milder than today, 63. That's the high we've had so far today. Breezy and warmer tomorrow afternoon. The potential is for temperatures to reach the 70s. Winds from the south to southwest 10 to 15, and then tomorrow afternoon, low to mid 70s for highs. We expect a dry afternoon and a fair amount of sunshine too. Here is your 7-day forecast. Friday with the front approaching, showers, maybe even a thunderstorm into the evening. It's a small chance that you'll see rain, 30% chance. Saturday, mostly cloudy, 59. St. Patrick's Day on Sunday, 57. And then next week is rather cool with highs staying in the 50s instead of jumping up into the 70s. So for the arrival of spring next Wednesday, it won't feel quite as nice as it will tomorrow and Friday, but we'll take it.
But it's dry.
Yeah, so we see more of a drier trend in our forecast. Gotta like that.
Yes, thank you, Mike. Once again, Honda recalling more vehicles for defective airbags.
How this could affect drivers who already had their Takata airbags replaced. We'll break down what you need to know straight ahead.
Plus, new restrictions from the FDA on e-cigarettes, how they are cracking down on the flavors.
This is WRAL News.
Honda is recalling some of its vehicles again over defective airbags, and they now include airbags that may have already been replaced. Honda says the Takata airbags that were used for replacement during the initial recall could still explode and spew shrapnel if deployed. Honda discovered this problem after a crash involving one of its minivans. The recall includes more than 1 million Honda and Acura vehicles with model years between 2001 and 2010. You can have your airbag replaced at the dealership.
The FDA has proposed new rules that would restrict the sales of flavored e-cigarette products. Under the proposal, the flavored products would only be sold at retailers and websites that impose age restrictions. Flavored cigars that were introduced after 2016 without FDA clearance would also be subject to new actions. And the changes do not apply to the flavors of menthol, mint, and tobacco. A new hemp facility is open for business in Wilson County. There was a ribbon-cutting ceremony this week for the 55,000 square foot industrial hemp extraction facility. The company called Criticality will open up about 88 jobs within the next 5 years. The facility will process locally grown industrial hemp to be used in the company's CBD products.
6 months ago, we were all bracing ourselves, preparing for the worst from Hurricane Florence.
And the storm devastated much of eastern North Carolina. Many communities are still trying to recover. David Crabtree is in Cumberland County tonight with a look at our special coverage coming up at 5:30.
Yeah, Catherine, coming up next, we're going to take a look at what Florence did to North Carolina, the rebuilding efforts of the tens of thousands of people still impacted, and the resilience of people who live in this part of the state. All of that straight ahead.